Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and with all projects, there's more than one way to get the job done. And today I would like to share with you two different ways to embroider on dishcloths. Now we do have the standard way, which I'll give you a brief on how we can do that. And then I have a different way of doing it, which I like to call an embroidered sandwich. I do love a new embroidered dishcloth right around this time of year. Just sort of makes the new year come in nice. So there are a few things that we need to do in order to have a beautiful finish. One of them is to start with a good dishcloth. And I am using these dishcloths from OESD. They're 100% cotton. They're nice and thick. You get two in a package. They have a nice little hanging corner on it. And what I really like about them is they really do wash well. This one, I have washed it probably 4 or 5 times. It still has a beautiful finish. So you can see that it does remain nice. The next thing are supplies that we're going to need. So the design that I have chosen today is this design that sort of looks like that chalk artwork. So in this case, because I did embroider on a black towel, my chalk is white. In this case, I'm on the white towel, so my chalk, well, it's going to be black thread. So there are a few other things we need to consider once we've chosen the towels and the embroidery, and that is stabilizer and hooping. The traditional way to do these dishcloths is to start with a sticky stabilizer. So this one is called Stable Stick. You hoop it, then you score it, and you take that paper part off of the back. And then we're going to be able to just put that towel right down. So that towel is stuck onto that stabilizer. And then it's nice if we have something that is going to sit on top. That accomplishes two things. It helps keep the stitching up above the towel so it doesn't sink in. And it does act as another stabilizer. So it does have a dual purpose. And there are different types of toppers you can get. This one, in the white one, is Stitch H2O. So it is a stabilizer that's going to wash away. And in this case, it was just floating on top of my embroidery and I put it down with some tape. So I'm going to be able to remove that now that the design is done, and whatever's left over will wash away. And for that stable stick, it is a tearaway. Now this does tear away really nice. I'm not forcing it. I just want it to come off gently. It really helps keep that embroidery nice as we are washing it and as we're using it. This one was done in that method. And you can see how well it has washed up. There is another way that we can stabilize and hoop our projects. And that's what I did with this one. This is going to be a gift, so I really want it to look nice as I am giving it. So I want no stabilizer on the front and no stabilizer on the back. And there's a project called Heat to Go, which is a stabilizer and a topper that the iron makes it go away. So it is a stabilizer that sort of looks like a heavy cellophane. And I'm going to have the towel go in between two pieces of the stabilizer. But I'm just going to take these right to my grippy grid and sandwich these together. And the first layer, I'm going to add on that one sheet, and that really does stick nice on that mat. The next is my towel. I'm going to take my towel, fold it in half so the right sides are touching, and I can see my center line, and I'm going to line it up. But I'm not going to hoop it all. I want the embroidery to come here near the bottom. So I cannot hoop this bottom section. and that's where the stable stick comes in handy. But in this case, I'm going to do a sandwich. So I'm going to place that towel on, and that grippy's going to hold that towel down for me. I can square that up and hold that right down there in place. And put your second layer on. Now hoop. I do like to make sure that the towel is nice and straight underneath. And I give that stabilizer a nice tight pull on both the top and the bottom and secure my hoop. So you can see there's a portion of that cloth that is floating in between. And this is why I call it my sandwich. So I have everything ready and set to go on my Bernina. Now I could have changed my machine to match the colors, but I will be using my color chart. I'm going to start with that beautiful dark turquoise. Now I could just let the machine do what it needs to do. And if you see, these two layers are going to stitch up beautifully. You can see how nice that Heat 2.0 is really sitting on top of this fabric. It has kept it together nice. So now I can get to my next color. Second thread done, and you can really see how this stabilizer is still holding up beautifully. And it is done. Let's see how this is held out. So it is held up really well, even with this fairly thick stitching. And the back, and you can see that none of that stabilizer has really loosened up. And that dishcloth in between is still nice and stable. We can take this out of the hoop. Now we're going to be able to remove it. And we do want to remove as much as we can just by our hands. The more we remove here, the less the iron has to do. Now this is only going to disappear when it touches the iron. So anything underneath is going to stay permanent, which is going to give this a nice puffy look. But anything here will disappear. So let's go to the iron, and I think you're going to be really surprised on how well this will disappear. So you can see some areas where that stabilizer is still there. So I'm taking a hot iron, and it doesn't have to have steam, and I'm going to iron directly over top of it. And when I do that, it goes away. And it doesn't get stuck on the iron. Go right over top of it. And look, all you end up with is a bunch of these crumbs. So you have all of this loose stuff that comes right off. And there is that back. Now let's do the front. The magic only happens when this stabilizer hits the iron. It does not wash out. It does not come out in a hot dryer. It only comes out with the iron. It is so cool to see all of that just roll up in a little ball. Those stitches are perfect. It's nice and flat, and not one little bit of stabilizer is on the front or on the back. So here are the two different ways of doing these dishcloths. These two, I used that staple stick and just stuck that on top. I used a wash away topper, but it does mean I have a little bit of that stabilizer on the back. So that's one option. The second option is to make an embroidery sandwich. And this works good because these towels are already very stable on their own. The stitching was not dense. I used 2 layers of the Heat to Go, which just disappeared with the iron. And I held it down with a little bit of tape. And when that's ironed, You see no stabilizer at all. And this is the option that I like if I'm going to be using these black, beautiful towels. I'll put some links in the description so you can check out a couple of these products to see if this is something you would like to try. So I get to start my year off with some new dishcloths. And I think my girlfriend will be happy when she gets a set as well. There's more than one way to embroider dishcloths, and it's a fun thing to try out. Thank you for joining me today on So Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter. It's all free under So Very Easy. And be sure to make every day a so-tacular day. Bye for now.